Hello there, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Yes, we definitely want to share with our folks in the group. Awesome. I hope you guys got off to a good start today, even with me having to change Coffee Time Career Chat to this afternoon instead of this morning. So I'm glad to be here with you guys. All right, let's make sure we are up and going. Uh, let's get us a little refresh and we will get going with today. It has been a busy day. So I am going to need a quick reboot here in just a second because it's been a little busy. There we go. Nope. Hopefully I should be up here. Oh, there we go. Awesome. Okay. So glad to be here. Happy Monday to everyone. It absolutely has been a super busy weekend day. I mean, like I've been like going all weekend, even into today. So, with different projects and appearances and things like that. So it's been all good stuff. Like, I'm not complaining, but it's made for a very busy schedule. And today, I actually was able to speak at one of the conferences that I've spoken at often over the past few years, and had the opportunity to do so again today, talking about networking in a crisis. My favorite topic. And it went extremely well, but it was scheduled for the same time as I normally do Coffee Time Career Chat, so had to shift things. So, and there's going to be some shifting this week, right? Because it's a holiday week and there's lots of things going on. So I will keep you updated. I will not leave you in the dark, but I will let you know if we shift things around. All right, so if by chance this is your first time joining us, my name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor, career empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And I am so excited to be here because what I love to do is to help empower professionals, especially women, to be able to achieve their long-term goals and dreams and to transition to achieve, and as you seek to achieve them, transition from positions that were meant to be but not anymore, or to new ones, or perhaps maybe there was a negative experience and your confidence has been deflated and you need a little boost and a little kick in the tail to move forward. That's what I'm here for, and to fill in the gaps along the way so that you can remember that it's really important to meet both your professional and personal goals, to adhere to the values that you care about, and to continue to do so while pursuing your goals and dreams with complete abandon. So I love that. Okay, so this month, can you believe it is the end of November already? So this month we have been talking about professional growth, and as we've talked about it, it's been a host of different topics. And for this final week, we're going to talk about professional growth from the perspective of making a plan for your professional growth. And a lot of people do not do this, or it's kind of haphazard, or, God forbid, it's all up here in your head, which means that things can shift and you don't document it, and you shift and therefore you don't move with it. So we're going to talk about that today, and then where we're headed for future. All right. So first of all, why do we want to make a plan for our professional growth? Well, here's the thing. Bottom line is we cannot leave our growth, our professional growth, to happenstance. We really shouldn't leave any of our growth, personal or professional, to happenstance, but we're focusing on this here. And the reason why is that when you just leave it to just happen, you, number one, don't have any control over it. You don't have any direction, which we'll talk about a little bit more. And it means you're just subject to the whims of whatever's going to happen. Now, if you're one of those people that kind of just can go by the seat of their pants and everything still work out okay, well, have at it, right? But that is not the majority of us. That is not most people. Most people like to have something to help guide them and to set a direction, and so you can get an idea, because things come up and you don't want to be stressed. Like, you would like to have some idea of where you're headed, right? And quite frankly, it actually helps to strengthen your position when you don't leave things to just fly by night experiences. So having a plan for where you're headed professionally is a great idea, regardless of whether you are a newbie straight out of college or whether you've been in the work world for 30 years. Guess what? You still need a plan. And I know some people's like, oh, that's, everybody says you need a plan. But I'm not talking about just any old thing. I'm not talking about, okay, I'm going to do this job and that job. I'm talking about something that's comprehensive, that's all encompassing, and recognizes you for the life that you live and the life that you want to live, and recognizing that doing the work that you do and the professionalism and the professional being that you are is a part of it, not the totality of it. Okay, so we approach things here from a completely different viewpoint. It's not just, okay, work's over here and life's over here. I mean, hello, right now, today, that is not the way we can live, and that is not going to be the way we can live moving forward. So just get it in your head that you don't want to leave things to chance. You do have to be flexible, but you don't want to just, let it go, rip, and then figure it out as you go along. That is way too stressful. Okay, that's number one. Number two, your plan doesn't require details, but it does require direction. Let me say that again. Your plan does not have to require details, but it does require direction. Here's why I say that. Because the first thing that most people will say is that, well, I don't know where I'm going to go because, what if it could be this, or what if it could be that, or what if this happens? Scratch all that. First, you're making this harder than it needs to be. I'm talking about an outline. I'm talking about what is it, big picture, long term, that you want to accomplish in your professional life and career. Okay? That's what you want to be able to talk about. That's what you want to be able to lay on the table, and then fill in the details, fill in the how as you go along. You want to identify the why, maybe a little bit of the where, but the how is going to shift as you go along. So don't stress yourself trying to figure out exactly what that's going to be. So how can you, outline? How can you create the outline for yourself? All right, your goals, your priorities, and your values. If you can identify those things, you are well on your way to being able to lay out a plan for yourself professionally that will sustain itself, that you will be able to work with over the course of time. When I work with my one-on-one clients and we're doing long-term work, that is a part of what we do. There may be a host of things that they want to work on professionally to grow themselves, to get over some mindset issues, to address some specific issues. But one of the things that we work on specifically is a strategic action career plan. Okay? A strategic career plan. Because what matters is not just where you've been, but how where you've been plays into what you're doing now and where you want to go. If you do it in a bubble and you do it just focus on what you did before, or just on what you're doing right now, or God forbid, just on what you think you want to do next, guess what? It's not going to work. At some point, you're going to have a breakdown. So you want to not focus on just the things and the actions. Of course, I'm going to talk about that. All the details of it, right? But big picture, what are the goals that you have? What are the priorities for your life and your career? And what do you value? When you limit that and narrow it down to those three things, you can be able to fulfill a plan that will work for you over the long term. Why? Because as your goals shift, as your priorities shift, as your values deepen, you will be able to adjust your plan accordingly. Has nothing to do with the details of it. Okay? Those big picture things will drive the details. Just ask the new mom or the person who's close to retirement or whatever, anybody in between, how those priorities shift. Okay? How a health crisis can shift where it is you go with your professional career in life. All right? Because you value your health, you value your family, you value your the end of your professional career and what you're going to do with it next. Okay, those are the things that are going to drive and direct what the details look like at every stage of your life. So think about that. Remember that the details are not what you need to worry about right now. It's the direction. It's what direction are you setting? Goals, priorities, values. Okay? Number 3, you have to act on the plan. I know I sound like a broken record. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. But like literally almost everything this entire month comes down to one of the items being about action. And this is because we get to a certain point, and I've been guilty of it, so I'm not gonna like just lay blame and say you guys, but we are so prone to laying out a beautiful plan or identifying these lovely things that we say we want to do or that we want to accomplish, but then fail to take action on them. Okay, a beautiful plan means nothing if you don't use it. You have to use it. Now, there are all kinds of reasons why we might not. We get scared, something shifts before we can even get going, and so that you kind of seize up, you kind of freeze up. Guess what? It's all good. It's part of life. It's what happens. It's literally what happens. So what does that mean? It means you have to be flexible. You have to be willing to pivot. You have to be willing to adjust. That's why I talked about the outline, knowing that the details may shift along the way. But in any case, you have to have something. You have to have a box that you're working within so that you can move and not so that you're not blowing in the wind. The kind of action we're talking about is not where you're just hanging out there blowing in the wind with no direction, with no idea of what to do next. Okay? We're talking about setting some direction, setting some goals, some objectives, and then taking action on them, plain and simple. If you say that in 5 years you want to be a part of, a nationally based leadership organization, then put it out there and then do the work to figure out what organization that might be. That's fleshing out the details. That's leaving yourself some options. Okay? If you say that in 3 years you would really like to have traveled and been a professional speaker in 3, foreign countries, then lay that out there and then pave the way for what's needed to make that happen. I know I've said that type of thing and done it, not in the way that I would have anticipated, right? Because no one's traveling, too many places right now, and certainly not overseas. But this weekend, what happened? I was able to collaborate with a business colleague in Australia, and I spoke on her masterclass series as a guest speaker. That is not the way I thought I was going to end up being an international speaker, but that's what happened. Be flexible, be open, and take the action. You will be so surprised at what you come up with and where you can go. Okay? Last but not least, number 4, make sure to remember to dream along the journey. This is so important because the other thing that can happen is you can have a plan and you can bury yourself in it and be so beholden to it that you forget to look up, catch some fresh air, and remember the dream. Remember why you even have this plan in place. Right? If the ultimate dream is to have flexibility and freedom in your professional life and career, then that's the reason why you're trying to get these, 5 speaking engagements per month, or achieve this level of professional growth, or to get that promotion, so that ultimately you can achieve something else that it is that you want to get, to go after and to be a part of your life. All right? Don't forget the dream. Keep the dreams. Remember also, this is another key area where your dreams may shift. The things that were important to you 15 years ago are no longer important to you. Or you're like, you know what? That was something I cared about, and I did some of it, but I really don't need it on my, on my plate right now because the dream has shifted. It's okay. They're your dreams. You're allowed. You're allowed to change your mind. Okay? So don't get so wrapped up and bogged down in the details of it that you forget to look up, to see the sky, to smell the flowers, right? To see the trees, and get some refreshing outlook on where it is you're going and what it is you want to do. Okay? So that is super, super important. All right, let's see where we are. Do we have some questions out there? Not sure, because I know this is not our normal time. Okay? All right. So here are your things. When you're making a plan for growth, number 1, remember your why. You do not want to leave your professional growth opportunities to happenstance. Okay? So you want to make sure that you have something. Number 2, you want to be able to be deliberate about it, but you want to make sure that you set direction and not get bogged down in the details. How are you going to set that direction? By identifying your goals, by setting your priorities, and by remembering your values. Those are key to making sure that you set a plan for growth that will last and will be able to move with you, and that it's sustainable. All right. Number 3, don't forget to act on the plan. You have to take action. Bottom line, be flexible, but be willing to move. All right. And then lastly, remember to dream along the way. It seems so simple, but I know it's really hard, because guess what? It's in the details, right? It's in the daily grind of things. And sometimes we want everything to be la 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 and it's all hunky-dory, but sometimes it really is a grind. And that's why it's important to remember your why, to keep your head up, so that when you get, bogged down in the why, you can lift yourself up, take a break, step away, and remember why it is you're doing things, right? Why you value the growth to begin with. Why is it important to you? Okay? And to support that. To seek those people who will support that. That is real important, because if you don't have friends and family or coworkers or bosses or whatever that will support you along the way, that does make it more difficult. That doesn't mean that you abandon your plan. Absolutely not. It may mean that you need to find some new friends and maybe you need to change that job. Maybe that's a part of the plan. Maybe that's a part of the growth, right? But things that we've talked about before, which is remember to invest in yourself. Do not use other people's negativity or lack of support to take away from the options that you have. We've talked about this before. It is always, always, always should be at the top of your agenda that if you can't get the support you need financially, time-wise, whatever, that you must be willing to make the sacrifice and make the investment in your own professional growth. That's actually a part of the plan. If you know that, you know what, my boss or where I'm working at is not going to pay for this type of professional growth because it's something that I'm looking forward on, then you know that you need to save some money so that you can do that this year. That is a part of your plan. Or you know that, hey, I know that it's going to take 5 days out of my calendar in order to attend that leadership development program this year. So you need to know that 5 days are not free for you to use for other things, that you need to remember that. Okay? All of those things are a part of your planning process. And then, of course, always remembering to take the time to reflect and to think and to refresh. Very important, because we can be moving right along, and all of a sudden we look up and it's June 2021 and we're like, oh my God, what happened? Where did that go? So don't forget to also, as part of your plan, this is one of the things I've done for years. Y'all know I keep journals and calendars and stuff like that. But I still I went back to keeping a paper calendar. And when I do, I go and I create a section in the back of my calendar. You do it however it works for you. But I keep a place where I have those things that I wanted to try and accomplish for the course of this year, or some new professional development opportunity I wanted to pursue. Right? So that it's there, and so that I can go back and I can look and see what happened and what did not. And if it's something that is adjusted because I'm like, oh, you know what, that just fell off. I really didn't think that was important anymore because something new or different came up that I didn't expect. Write that in, replace it. Because sometimes we get a little caught up and we're like, oh, I didn't get the things done that I wanted to this year. Well, maybe it's because you set your goals too low. I had this conversation with someone a couple of weeks ago at one of my presentations. You set your goals too low, you achieve them very quickly, and then you're like, well, what else am I supposed to do? Well, it means you need to go sit back. You need to reflect on what it is you did and where it is you're trying to go, and rethink things, right? That's why that reflection time is so important. At a minimum, it should be big picture, happen quarterly. You should put it on your calendar to make sure that you go back and you review your professional growth plan quarterly, so that you can know you're on target, or if things have shifted and where you want to go next. If you need to replace some things, if you need to upgrade some things, whatever it may be. This year, 2020, I know it has been one for the books, and so many of our things have just completely been blown out of proportion, just gone off the rails. But here's the thing. I always have a plan for speaking engagements over the course of a year, right? Things that I know on average that I end up doing and speaking. In actuality, this year, I started off really slow, and I was like a little frightened because I was like, what is going on here? And then the pandemic hit in March, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be in trouble, because I was already slow in a month in February when I normally have 3 or 4 speaking engagements easily, even if it's just speaking to a group of kids somewhere. And that didn't happen. So I was a little concerned. But I remembered, you know what, let me just, pivot, figure out what I'm going to do. And then I just started putting it out there and asking people if they needed someone, or just keeping the conversations going. And the next thing I know, whoosh, y'all, I have so many opportunities that have come up over the course of this year, but the majority of which were not on the schedule. They were nothing that I was looking for. They were not planned. I think maybe 1 or 2 were planned. The others came up completely on their own during the course of the year. And it's been, crazy busy as a result. All right. So that's important. Remember, for me, for using that as an example, the goal was to continue to build my speaking engagement opportunities over the course of the year, and to have a certain number, right? I don't remember what it was. But then what happened was to do the work behind the scenes to keep making that happen. Keep reaching out to people, being present, doing my coffee chats, making those opportunities to arise, as opposed to waiting for them to come to me, right? And so then the things just happen. And it was not by happenstance. It was by some level of planning. It's just exploded way more than I even anticipated. That can be the same for you with whatever it is you're working on, and wherever you're trying to get to with your goals. But you have to be willing to lay out the plan, identify the goals, the priorities, your values, and be willing to shift and adapt along the way. Okay? All right. That is it for today. Thanks for sticking with me and making the adjustment. If you are viewing this later, as I know so many of you will be, do not hesitate or forget 2 things. Number 1, to go check out the Walk in Your Strength challenge that is underway. Today was the first day. And the way you get involved and you get all the goodies is you have to sign up. Hey, Leslie, you have to sign up for the challenge. There's a link at the top of the page, I believe, and a post. So from this business page, as well as inside the empowerment group. So the Empowerment Network group. So either way, you can click. All you need to do is to send your email, and it will automatically put you in the pipeline for the challenge that is going on this week. I know some people are like, it's a holiday week. I'm like, yes, it is. And guess what? This is crunch time. The last 6 weeks of the year are not the time to let up. If you have professional goals and things you want to accomplish for 2021, do not let this time slip by without laying out a plan, without having the reflection that you need in order to move into 2021. We already know 2020 has been one for the books. It has been a piece of work, to say the least. So you want to move into 2021 as strong as possible. That means you have to set aside the time in order to prepare yourself for it. And this challenge is a great way to make that happen. So I encourage you to participate, get signed up, and get involved. I will be posting a few things in the empowerment group, but I don't post everything. If you want everything, sign up, click on the link, get your email in the loop, and you will get everything that comes with that, including the tips, strategies, the video, all of that stuff. All right. The second thing is December 7th. It's coming up quickly, and that is going to be the 5 Steps to Career Success in Any Economy live workshop. I love doing these live workshops, you guys. So I'm looking forward to being able to do one. I missed my one that I normally would have done last month. And so I'm super excited to be able to do it again. And this will be the last one of this year. So get you a friend, come join in, go through it together, and get ready to prepare yourself for what it is you're ready to do in 2021. All right? As always, you know where to reach me. If you need to be able to, you want to set up a consult to talk about maybe something a little more private, one-on-one, you know where to find me. Hit me up in the messages, email me, whatever. I am here. I've been filling out some time, and I still have a little bit of time on my schedule between now and the end of the year. So let's make it happen, okay, folks? Take care, and I will talk with you again on Wednesday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.